Hi, hello, and welcome to Cinema Express. My name is Ram Venkateshwarika. Today we have with us Will Graham, the co-creator of the upcoming Amazon Prime original show, A League of Their Own. Hi, Will.
Nice to meet you, Ram.
So, Will, my first question to you would be, what are some of your first memories of watching the original Penny Marshall film, A League of Their Own?
I grew up with the movie. It was one of my mom's favorite movies, and I played
Hmm.
Little League Baseball for 7 years, and I was terrible. I was like a little queer kid who was, didn't feel like they should be on the field. And there was something in the movie that said it was okay to be on the field.
Hmm.
I always loved the moment where Gina Davis caught the ball with her bare hand. Um, and uh, and then a couple of years ago, we started to kind of look into the stories underneath it, and found this set of stories that we thought was worth telling, that we really feel like are universal. They're for everyone, and we're just
Hmm.
excited.
So Wikipedia says that you started working on this project in 2017. Finally, after it has taken 5 years to see to reach the screen. So I would like to ask you, what kept you going through a couple of pandemic waves, and you know that the world has changed drastically in the past couple of years. I would like to know what kept you going through the past couple of through the past 5 years.
It wasn't. I mean, there have been a lot of challenges,
Hmm.
and it did take a while. But I think we really wanted to get it right. Uh,
Hmm.
we've always felt like these stories. Abbi and I have felt like these stories are bigger than us. Um, and what kept me going was the joy at the center of these stories, of people finding themselves, finding their dreams, finding their team. At the
Hmm.
end of the day, the women who these stories are based on, some of whom we've gotten to know really well, had to deal with way harder things than
Hmm.
developing a TV show. So it wasn't that hard to find the energy to keep going.
So, well, everything is under scrutiny in the age of social media, right? People are very possessive about pop culture and stuff they are quite serious about. So, when you are working with something that is revered by a large section of audience, like A League of Their Own, what are some of the ground rules that you had set to ensure that everybody likes what you're creating?
I think that we think of this as a little different. We don't really think of it as a reboot of the movie. We think of it as like a reimagining based on the stories underneath it. So it's different than when you're
Hmm.
taking a fictional film.
Right.
We really we wanted to take the amazing tone that Penny Marshall and the cast had set,
Hmm.
and just look at the
Hmm.
story through a wider lens. And we got a chance to talk to Penny before she passed away a couple of years ago, which was incredible. And we got to describe to her what we wanted to do and kind of get her support. It was wonderful.
Hmm. So I got to watch a couple of episodes of the show, and I have to say that it does address some really serious topics like racism and sexism, to name a few. But at the same time, it's the humor is intact. It's quite palatable. So tell me about the need to blend the seriousness with this palatable format. Was it quite important for you to balance these two?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think this is a show that is about joy and about people finding their dreams and finding themselves. And we didn't want the story to become about the obstacles. Obviously,
Right.
we're talking about women, we're talking about queer people, we're talking about women of color at this point in
Hmm.
history. This world wasn't made for them, right? Uh,
Right. Yeah.
and that's part of the story of the show, and it's part of the story of the movie.
Hmm.
That's not what the story's about, right? And that comes from listening to the way that the women who lived these stories told them. You
Hmm. I read an interview of yours where you had mentioned that you didn't follow the typical showrunner role in here. Like, you were always open to feedback. You had multiple writers working on the show. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement in the writing and the development?
Yeah, I mean, Abby and I created the show, and we wrote the first episode together. But from the start, we knew that this was a story that was bigger than any one person. No one had all of the experiences or knowledge that you need to do this. So we had an incredibly talented group of writers involved with us from the start that helped us flesh out the stories. And we also had an amazing research team that helped pull together the real stories, because there's not one book that covers all of this. There's 300 and then a million interviews and things like that. So at the end of the day, Abby, Desta Ref, and I were the main funnel for the
Yeah.
writers. But we collaborated, and there's with an incredible and diverse writing team, and there's pieces of all of them in this.
Thank you very much for your time. This is Ram signing off. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching.